going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be talking about all of the modifications and upgrades that I've gotten done to my tractor, and I'll be making a list for you guys in order from beginning to end of what I feel is the most important tractor modifications and upgrades that you can do, specifically on the Kubota BX here. I figured I'd get this video done right before I get my original tractor cab installed, after I just got done washing the tractor, greased it, serviced it, did a full service on this thing so it's ready for winter. It's been a long time since I did that, but I figured now is a good time as any to go through these modifications and upgrades that I've done. I've gotten a ton of comments in the last 2-3 years about my tractor, questions about certain things like ballast and third functions and stuff like that, just typical average upgrades that a lot of people will do to their tractors that I get questions on all the time. So I think this video will help a lot of you guys out who are asking these questions. It should clarify a lot of things for you guys. We're going to start right out by saying whether you got a used or new tractor, this list can go for either one of them, and whether it's a Kubota BX 2350 or a 2380, it really does not matter. This upgrade list is going to be good for all of them. We're going to start right off by number one, what I feel is the most important. So the most important thing for any new tractor owner or new tractor buyer, whether it's used or new, is to make sure you got some ballast weight. So the first thing I would recommend before you even leave the Kubota dealer is to make sure they fill these tires. I would recommend that you fill them with beet juice because the weight to volume ratio is much better on beet juice than anything else. Some people will use windshield washer fluid, which is a lot better than nothing, that or water if you don't live in a cold climate. But these tires, for their size, 26 inches, you're only going to get about 86 pounds out of it with water or something like windshield washer fluid. With beet juice, you could actually get these tires to weigh about 110 pounds, which is quite a bit for the small size of the tire that it is. So by filling both tires, you'll have about 220 pounds of rear ballast weight, down low, right where you want it, lowest to the ground, bringing that center of gravity lower on the tractor so you have a more stable machine. Whether or not you have a front end loader or not, I highly recommend it. As long as your lawn isn't super soft and you're not worried about sinking into the ground, I would recommend it, even if you're just using it as a mower, because if you got a lot of hills and stuff like that, mowing on angle and whatnot, beet juice and tires, you can't go wrong with it. It's not that expensive, and in fact, a lot of dealers will actually throw that in for free if you talk to them about it. Tell them you're only going to buy the tractor if they give you beet juice in it, and most of the time they will fill them for free for you. I know when I bought my front end loader, I talked them into filling my tires for free. That was at Southern Tier Trailer here in New York, and they treated me right up there. So that is my number one upgrade to do if you've got a brand new tractor. All right, so the second item I put on the list here is, believe it or not, it's going to be wheel spacers. So a lot of people think that wheel spacers are going to hurt your axle. They do technically void your warranty by adding wheel spacers, which I think is silly. Because as long as you're not going more than, say, like 2 inches, you really don't have nothing to worry about, at least with a Kubota BX, because the axle is built tough, it's built right, it's built to handle a lot of weight and a lot of leverage. So the thing that a lot of people worry about is because they put on wheel spacers, you're actually moving your wheel out farther, which is putting more pressure, more leverage on your axle, because the farther you get out your tire, you got more leverage working against that axle, that bearing, and that seal on the inside here on the transmission. So what a lot of people worry about is either hurting that bearing or rupturing that seal. And I can tell you from experience of my 2-inch spacers that I've had on here for, I want to say, around 3 years now, I have beat the living crap out of this machine. I have done just about every type of job you could imagine, and I have not had a single issue with the rear end. No problems with the transmission, no problems with the axle. And these are just 2-inch Chinese wheel spacers. A lot of people will go and buy expensive wheel spacers. I know there's companies out there that are selling them for like $400 for a couple of spacers on the back here. I think that's just ridiculous. I went on eBay and I bought these wheel spacers, I'm not kidding you, for $45 for both. I've had them for 3 years now. I've never had a single lug nut come loose. I've never had a single stud break. I've never had a single issue. I put them on and set them and forget them. I made sure I torqued my lug nuts in a star pattern. You want to make sure you do that. Maybe check them after like the first, I don't know, 20 hours just to make sure they're not loosening up, because you're going to stretch those studs out the first time you use them. So just double check them maybe 10-20 hours later, and then you should be solid. You shouldn't have to mess with it anymore. And the amount of stability it gives a Kubota BX or something like a subcompact tractor is unbelievable. Not only does it give it more stability, but it gives it more tractive power. I've noticed a lot once I installed these of the pushing power that I had. Being in weird situations where the ground is unlevel, the tractive power that you gain from having a little bit wider of a back wheel spacing, it's quite impressive. I didn't expect to really feel much of a difference, but I gotta tell you, it's the best upgrade that I've done to this tractor, and I could say that hands down. That and ballast weight is the #1 things that you need to do to a subcompact tractor, especially if you're gonna be using the loader a lot, especially if you're going to be lifting a lot of weight. Do not gloss over those two things. Now, one thing with the Kubota BX is if you have a 54-inch deck, you can only go with a 1.5-inch spacer. If you go any more than a 1.5-inch spacer, it brings the tire out too far. And when you have your 54-inch belly mower on, where the guide wheel sits out over here, the tire will actually rub on it. So that's a common question that I get all the time is, you know, can I run 2-inch spacers with a 54-inch belly mower? And no, you cannot, because your tire will rub on the wheel guide. So if you have a 60-inch deck, you can get away with a 2-inch spacer like I have. If you have a 54-inch deck, do not go over 1.5 inches on a wheel spacer. If you guys want to see the video where I installed these wheel spacers and I go into a little bit more detail about them, I will link that video right here. So the third best upgrade to do to a subcompact tractor, or most any tractor, depending on what you're doing, is rear ballast weight. So we talked about the ballast weight inside the tires, getting some rim guard put in them, but that is often not enough. With my machine, it certainly was not enough. With a Kubota BX, if you're doing a lot of lifting, you're going to want more than just rim guard in your tires. I would recommend a minimum of 4 42-pound weights in the back. Now to mount these suitcase weights, you're going to need a suitcase weight bracket. So as you can see here, I have a suitcase weight bracket, and it's nothing more than a 3-point hitch drawbar. This is a Chinese drawbar I bought for $40 on Amazon. I took some 3/8 inch by 2-inch flat stock here, and I've welded it to the sides. And then I used 3/8 by 3-inch flat stock for the top bars here that go across. And as you can see here, it just comes across and ties together to the centerpiece right here. And that ties it all in. It's plenty strong enough. You can make your own really cheap. I actually have a video where I talk about how I made this. I talk about which drawbar I bought, exactly what steel I used with it. I think I even gave the measurements. The best thing to do is to make it yourself or find someone that's a welder and have them make it for you, because these rear suitcase weight drawbars, they go for like $250, almost $300. Heavy Hitch sells these and they're almost like $300, which I think is asinine, because there's not much to it. They don't need to be that beefy. This is just a Chinese drawbar, and I pulled trees down with this hitch, and I've never had a crack in this thing. I've never had a problem. So just find yourself a cheap drawbar, get a welder or find someone who's a welder, and weld on some flat stock. Get your measurement from top to bottom, depending on what suitcase weight you're running. When I built mine, I actually made this top bar here higher so that if I wanted to ever run a 70-pound suitcase weight, I can do that. A lot of the suitcase weight brackets that you see online, this bar right here, this top bar that holds the weight, is much lower. So it will only support the 42-pound weights because they're much shorter. The 70-pound weights are much longer, so you need this bar to be up higher. And what they normally do is they upcharge you. If you want the bracket that'll hold a 70-pound weight, they upcharge you like another $50, where you can just weld it yourself and build it how you want, and then you can fit both, both style weights. So that's what I did. So you're gonna need to get yourself a weight bracket. You could either buy one, build one like I said, and I recommend at least 4 42-pound weights with the Kubota BX. I found out that anything less than 4, you're not gonna be able to use this tractor to its full capability. When you're doing grading work, when you're doing loader work, moving material around, anything like that, you're not gonna be able to get your full capability out of this tractor unless you at least got 4 weights on it. You could get away with 2 weights to start with. A lot of people will just buy 2, and then eventually down the road they'll buy 2 more. Me, I started with 4 weights, and then I ended up adding another 4 weights. Now, as far as the weights go, these weights I bought off Heavy Hitch, and I think I paid $65 a piece for them, which doesn't sound too bad, but then I had to pay like $20 a weight to ship it. So they ended up being like $80, $90 a weight. You can go on homedepot.com and you could buy these John Deere weights here for about I think they're $65 a piece, and they're free shipping to any local store. And you can go there and pick them up for free, and it saves you a ton of money because shipping these things is not cheap. So let Home Depot take care of the shipping costs for you. Pick these up for about 65, 70 bucks a piece. Pick them up at your local Home Depot and you're good to go. Again, if you guys want to see the video where I talk about building this suitcase weight bracket and how I did it, I will link that video right here. All right, so for the third item that I would buy if I was a new tractor owner, I would buy either a quick hitch or these Messick's adjustable telescoping 3-point hitch links. So depending on how many rear implements you're using, or if you just want it super simple, most people will end up going with the quick hitch. This quick hitch is a Farm X. It's called Farm X. I will see if I can leave a link in the video description. Actually, for all this stuff that I'm talking about, I'm going to try to leave a link for everything in the video description so that you guys can see the prices on it and see where to buy it yourself. But this is a Farm X brand. I think it's the exact same as the Speedco brand. I think Casey at Goodworks Tractors, I think he sells these exact same ones. These are a true Cat 1 hitch. That's the good thing about these. They're a true Cat 1 hitch so that you don't need to buy the sleeves to adapt it. Those quick hitches are terrible. You can get them really cheap. They're like 99 bucks. bucks. You get them at Harbor Freight, but you got to buy the sleeves for every single implement. You got to put them on every single implement that you have, which is a pain in the butt. And if you ever didn't want to use the quick hitch, now you got all these sleeves on all your implements that you have to take off to put them on your regular 3-point hitch arms. So I would just skip all of that. You can buy these for about 150 bucks. It's like $50, $60 more, and you got a true Cat 1 quick hitch. And every attachment that you have for your Kubota BX or your subcompact tractor will fit directly into the notch of this, and you'll be able to pick right up on it. It is a lifesaver. I love having this thing on there. If you want to take your suitcase weights off, you just drop them right down. I actually have a cart that I slide into the hitch here. I pull my levers, I drop the weights off, I roll them away, and I can pick up on a rear implement. It's one of the best things you can get. That's if you're doing a lot of things with your 3-point hitch. I don't even do a whole lot with my 3-point hitch. I don't use a ton. I use my back blade. I had a box blade years ago, but it's just a lifesaver to have, because when you do want to hook something up on a 3-point, it's just as easy as pulling a couple levers and dropping it off. Now, if you don't want to go this route with a quick hitch, I would highly recommend the Messick's telescoping 3-point hitch arms. So as you can see here, you've got these adjustable flat stock bars here with a pin in them, and you just pull this pin out and you're able to quickly adjust your linkages so that you're not sitting there with a nut threading the rod ends in and out with wrenches and vice grips and all that kind of thing. They always end up getting rusty and seize up. These telescoping links are awesome. You can pick them right up on the Messick's website. I've had these on here now for, I want to say, a couple years at least, and I've not had any issues with them. The paint is still perfect on them. Like I said, I pulled trees, stumps, all kinds of things with this. I've pulled at an angle where it's, it's really yanking this thing sideways, and I've not had a single issue with those telescoping links. Now those links, they cost about $189 if you go to Messicks.com, or I know you could find them on eBay. I think some people sell them on eBay as well and other random sites, but I'd recommend the Messicks ones. They might be a little bit more money, but I can guarantee you that they're going to be strong and they're going to be quality and they're going to fit perfectly. So yeah, if you guys want to see a little bit more detail about these links, or even watch me when I installed them and how you install them, you guys can go ahead and click on this link right here. All right, so this next upgrade is going to be for both the front and the back of your tractor. So this upgrade is going to be the 2-inch receiver hitch. You can buy this 2-inch receiver hitch. They sell them on eBay, or you can make one. I ended up buying mine on eBay because it was before I actually even lived at this house. It was right when I first got this tractor. I didn't have any way to weld or build my own. Really easy to build though, but basically it just bolts into where your front grill guard bolts into, right into the frame there. And it's just basically a piece of flat stock with a couple of gussets and a 2x2 piece of square stock with a hole drilled in it. And this allows you not only to have a tie down point, which I like a lot, I use it all the time, but also allows you to throw a receiver in there and move trailers around. I think I paid like 40 bucks for it. I think you can get it for like 38, 40 bucks. They're really cheap and it's a really worthwhile investment. I use mine all the time. Even for just hauling my tractor alone, just being able to strap it down to that tie down point is great. I know they sell little hooks that you can bolt onto each side of the frame here, the front of the frame of the tractor, and it gives you like a little D-ring that you can put your straps through, but I think those cost as much, if not more, than this front hitch right here. And this front hitch not only gives you a tie down point, but it also allows you to run a 2-inch receiver. So I would recommend going with this option over buying the D-ring mounts for the sides of the tractor for strapping your tractor. Now there's one on the front and I also have one on the back, and this back one is custom, but it's not so custom. So if I can get the camera in here, you'll see that this is a Reese hitch. This I bought at my local hardware store. It's just a universal Reese receiver hitch. As you can see there, it's got 4 mounting holes, and I thought it looked oddly similar to the stock hitch that was bolted here from Kubota. So I ended up buying, I think it was like $38, $40. I took it home and I marked the holes out from the original Kubota plate that was here, which is basically just got an eyelet on it for hauling like small trailers and stuff. I laid the stock one up against this Reese hitch and I seen that the holes were really close. I basically just had to wallow them out a little bit, basically just made them a little bit bigger on a drill press, and this thing was able to bolt right in. I know there's people online that are selling them. They're like $120. If you guys could find this Reese one, which I will try to find a link again and put that in the video description for you guys, because if you're a little bit handy and you have a drill press, you could easily modify this to work perfectly on your Kubota BX. And just like the front, not only are you able to mount a receiver in here, a 2-inch receiver, but you also have an eyelet here on each side. So I use this all the time as well when I haul this thing around in the trailer. They've got one hole here and one hole on the other side there. And then you could also put a D-ring in like I did, which gives you a third mounting spot. And a lot of times I'll pull heavy things with this. If I get stuck, it's a great point to pull the tractor out on. So it's another great little upgrade to have. Highly recommended. Front and rear 2-inch receiver hitch. Gotta get them. All right, so now for my 6th, I think we're on the 6th. For my 6th major thing that I would highly recommend for anybody to get, if you've got a subcompact tractor, a Kubota BX with a front loader, make sure that you buy one with the skid steer coupler. I know a lot of you guys are buying them used and they have the pin-on coupler, and I've gotten a ton of questions, you know, can I get the skid steer adapter for it? And the answer is yes, you can. The skid steer coupler is just this front plate right here. I should have took the bucket off so you could see it better, but it's this piece right here. And all it does is it pins on where the original bucket pins on. It pins on right here on your curl cylinder, and again, right there. It's 3 pins, easy to put on, and they're fairly cheap. You can get them for anywhere between $550 to about $880 from what I looked up online. I would recommend going direct through Kubota. That's what I always tell people, because you know the Kubota coupler is going to fit flawlessly for one, and you know it's going to be strong, and you know it's going to be built well, and you know it's going to be made for that machine. But you could also get them online. I think Everything Attachments, they make their own style of it. I'm not too keen on the handles that they use on theirs, but it probably works just as well. I think theirs is about $880. You'll be surprised. Sometimes you can go to the dealer and you could find some of this stuff actually cheaper than what you would from these aftermarket companies. But yeah, number 6, highly recommended. Get yourself a skid steer coupler. This will open your tractor up to a whole new world of attachments and things that you can do with your tractor, from augers to grapples, high capacity buckets, pallet forks. I mean, you name it, you could put it on there. If it's got a skid steer coupler and it's not overweight, over capacity for the machine, you can put it on there, no problem at all, and use it to its max. And it's just great. It's just a great feature to have, and it opens your tractor up to so much more. So if you're buying a tractor new, be sure to get that coupler with the tractor. All right, guys, so that was my list of the most important add-ons that you can buy with a brand new tractor. That was the most important things that I feel you absolutely need with a new subcompact tractor. That is my opinion, but like I said, I've had these things on my tractor. All these things I can vouch for. All these things I know can withstand an incredible amount of abuse and will help you do your jobs much more efficiently, much more effectively, and will save the tractor in the long run and yourself. So now we're gonna go on to the top accessories to buy. So these are the most important accessories that'll help you get work done with the tractor, help you make this thing be just that much more productive and useful for yourself. So the first thing we're going to talk about is having a true third function for your tractor. So the third function that I have is a Summit third function, which is right here. I've had this Summit third function on here, I want to say, for about 4 years now. I made an entire install video putting this thing on there, talking about all of its specs. It's been a great third function valve. It's made by Summit. At the time I bought it, it was like $480, which is dirt cheap. I know they've went up in price since then. I think now they're like $800, but it's still much cheaper than mostly all the competition out there for a true third function. A lot of these other companies are selling a diverter valve, which basically, a diverter valve, what happens is you have a button up here on your joystick, and when you press that button, it diverts the flow from your curl and dump feature to open and close on a grapple or whatever your third function is. So basically, when you press that button, you're losing one function to gain another. So it's basically interrupting that flow to your curl and dump ports to your accessory port. So that, I mean, that works, but it's not the most efficient. You're not able to boom up, curl, and say open and close a grapple at the same time. With a true third function valve, you can do all those functions at the same time. That's why they call it a true third function, because you have a third function that actually works like all of your other hydraulics. It can be worked simultaneously with everything else. So I highly recommend a third function. If you're short on money, you can get a diverter valve, but honestly, I don't think you can really even touch a diverter valve for much less than a Summit third function kit. Again, this valve I've had for 4 years. I've not had a single leak on the thing. I've not had a single issue with it. I've never had one problem with the wiring, the solenoids, no leaks on the hoses, the fittings, nothing. I mean, I set it and forget it. I installed it that day and I've used the crap out of it. I've not had a single problem. So that is my #1 top rated accessory that you gotta have for your subcompact tractor. And like every other upgrade I've showed you so far, if you want to see the video where I installed it and went into more detail talking about it, I will link that video right here. You can watch it right after this. Okay, so the second most important accessory that I feel you can get for your tractor is a rear remote kit. So this rear remote kit, this is made by Kubota. It's not too hard to install, but you could also have the factory install this as well. You could have them installed when you first buy your tractor. You can come back and you could buy this later on and have them install it. I installed mine myself, like everything else on this tractor. This kit is not as expensive as you might think. It's actually an extremely good deal. This kit I just looked up on Messick's. You can buy for $432 for this full factory rear remote kit, which I think is a screaming deal because you're getting everything, all the hardware, you're getting the fittings, you're getting the covers, you're getting everything you need to install this, and it's a perfect fit and finish. Everything is made for this tractor, so it fits perfectly. I installed all this on camera as well. If you want to see the video where I went into detail about this and install it, I give you step-by-step instructions how to do it so you can follow along. I will link that video right here. But this is a great upgrade to have because you could run things like a log splitter with it. You can put a top and tilt kit on there. As you see, I have a hydraulic top link. It's great for running a back blade. You can angle it on the fly. You don't have to keep jumping off the tractor, grabbing out your adjustable wrench and adjusting that turn screw. It's really great for that. I don't have a tilt cylinder yet, but I do want to get one someday so that you can angle it, you know, left and right. It's great for doing grading work. It's great for box blades and things like that. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. For $430 something, you can't beat it. It's just a really great piece to have. And just like all the rest of the upgrades I've showed you, it enables your tractor to do just so much more work, and it makes it just that much more capable of a machine. All right, so I want to say we're on accessory number 4 now. I'll count the top and tilt kit as number 3. And by the way, that top and tilt kit, I looked those up. You can get both the top and tilt cylinders from Summit for about $5.99, which I don't think is too bad. $5.99 for both cylinders, and they're actually linked cylinders. So one thing about the cylinder I have is it's actually not the right cylinder for this tractor. It doesn't have the eyelet in the front and the rear, or on the top and the bottom, I should say. You got to have an eyelet in here because without the eyelet, the cylinder has no flex. So what happens when your 3-point hitch shakes back and forth like this, it's actually putting an extreme amount of pressure on this rod and it'll cause it to leak. Mine's actually started to leak over time because of this. So you want to make sure you're getting the right cylinders. If you're getting the top and tilt cylinders, make sure that they're actually made for a 3-point hitch and that they have eyelets in them, just like everything else on your 3-point hitch. You know, it should have an eyelet. That way it's allowed to flex and move and shake back and forth, and it's not going to rupture the cylinder or the seal. So yeah, I just want to point that out as well. So that is number 3. So number 4 and 5 best accessory that I feel is LED lights. So one great upgrade to do when you got a new tractor is you can put LED lights in the headlights. Most of these tractors, at least the older ones, I'm not sure about like the BX80 series or these newer tractors. I think a lot of them are coming with LED lights now. You can see I have LED lights in mine, but I upgraded them. So the Kubota BX, it runs a 886 bulb. So you can look these up on eBay. I will also try to put a link in the video description. Just search 886 LED headlight bulb, and swapping out the stock halogen bulbs with these LED lights will make such a big difference. It's bad enough that these headlights get blocked a lot by your loader, so the brighter they can be, the better. These lights, I think I paid $13 for the pair, so it's super cheap. It's a really cheap upgrade, and it also looks nice too. Your tractor looks a lot nicer at night, having a nice whitish blue light versus an ugly yellow halogen bulb. And it's less load on the alternator as well. These LED lights, they don't draw a lot of wattage, so if you're worried about that, it's good for that as well. I've seen a lot of other guys, like John Ritter, I know, he swapped all his bulbs out to LED lights on his tractor. That's another thing you can do as well, and it makes your brake lights and your turn signals and whatnot just that much brighter. The other LED lights that I'm talking about would be LED lights like fog lights for your ROPS or your roll bar. So a lot of people will mount LED lights up here. The only reason I don't have LED lights on mine is because in the wintertime I have a cab on here, and on my cab I have LED lights on the roof of the cab. So I don't need any up top. Even though it would be nice in the summertime, I'm usually not out past dark in the summertime with this machine. Only in the wintertime am I out after dark and plowing because it gets dark so early. So that's where I need the lights, and again, I have them on the cab. But I do have some fog lights down here. These, I call them my ditch lights. So I have them down low. That's why you'd call them a ditch light. I have them slightly angled out. And what these allow is for me to see the path where my tire is taking. You know, it gives me light out on each side. It gives me a nice ring of light like this on the outside of my tractor on each side. It's really great for plowing with the push box. I can see the edges and the corners of my push box, and I'm plowing at night. And it just kind of gives you that light down low, where your headlights will give you the light up high. These will give you the light down low, and to make sure you're not going to, you know, go into a ditch or anything like that in the wintertime. It's really nice to have these added lights down here. Now these lights I got from Harbor Freight. I bought them back when I first got my tractor. I want to say these are like 6 years old, and I've smashed them and banged them off things. I've bent the brackets that they're on many times, and I've had to straighten them out. I've run them into things. I've hit them on stumps. I've pressure washed them a million times, and when I pressure wash, I'm relentless. I just get, I get right in there with the nozzle. I don't care. And these things have not had an ounce of water in them, and they've had no issues in 6 years. And these are like $20, $22 a piece at Harbor Freight. I think they call them like the pod lights. Just make sure when you get them, they have two different ones. They have a spotlight and a fog light. These are the fog lights. You want the fog lights because they have a wider beam. The spotlights are more of a straight beam for long distances. I think for a tractor, you'll want the fog lights. Them will work a lot better for you. But these have been really good lights for me. So that is my 6th upgrade, is LED lights, either on your ROPS or down low, using them for ditch lights. And again, if you want to see the video where I installed these LED lights, it's a really old video. It's like one of the first videos I ever did on YouTube. So if you want to see how far we've come, you could see the old shed that I used to work in and whatnot. I will link that video right here. Just be mindful, it is a really old video and I didn't really know what I was doing then, but I go through and I show you guys how to set up these lights, how to mount them, how to wire them into the tractor, and how you can mount them to the frame of the tractor without doing any modifications. If you put them down here on the frame, down low like I have them, there's actually holes in the frame, and if you mount them just right, you could put the brackets right through those holes and you don't have to do any modifications to the tractor. So I recommend you watch that video. Again, it'll be right there in that link. All right, so number 6 and 7, best accessory, is gonna be in the fuel department of the tractor. So number 6 is gonna be the fuel filter fuel bowl mod. So as you see here, I have this fuel filter bowl on the front of my tractor. This filter here replaces the inline filter that is underneath your tractor. It's underneath the floorboard about midway back, and what happens is it constantly clogs up, and because it's such a small filter and it's being used as like the primary filter coming from your fuel tank, it really doesn't have a whole lot of capacity, and if you have any water at all in your fuel, it'll always freeze up underneath your tractor, being such a small filter and not holding a whole lot of volume. It's a really, really poor design by Kubota. They have 2 filters on this. So you have a primary that's underneath the tractor, and that's getting the fuel directly from the tank that's in the back. So it goes through that inline filter as a primary, and then it comes up here where there's a secondary inline filter that's right before the injection pump. It'll go through that and it'll go through the injection pump. The problem is, like I said, that small inline filter is not good enough for a primary filter. You'll have nothing but problems with it, and not to mention it's extremely hard to get at. You gotta go underneath the tractor, you gotta lay on your back. It's a pain in the butt. You can't drain the water out of it. So this mod allows you to not only have a much better filter, a better micron, but also allows you to separate water, because it's also a water separator. The water will actually sit on the bottom of this bowl here, and you'll be able to see if you got water in it. It's easy to take apart. It's easy to change. You got a lever right here where you can shut the fuel off. You twist this ring off right here, you drop the bowl out, you can pour out the water, you can change your filter. Very simple. It's no longer underneath the tractor. You got a lot better volume, and you will not have any more issues with a clogged primary filter or frozen fuel. That is a #1 issue with these tractors, especially if you live in a colder climate. I've seen videos on YouTube of guys having, you know, their tractor stall out every single winter they plow because of that stupid inline filter for the primary. So that is definitely going to be an important mod to do. Number 6 on my list. If you guys want to see the video where I installed this, I go through, I tell you the part numbers, everything. I tell you where to buy it, how much it cost. I think I had about $65 in material between the hose, the clamps. You have to have a brass nipple and the fuel bowl. I think it was about $65. Or you can buy a whole kit online. They sell it for about $200. I think it's like $199, and it comes with everything for you, so you don't have to source everything yourself. And then you can just do the install yourself. But I show a whole video step by step how to install this, and I talk a lot more about it. I will link that video as always right here. Okay, so going on to number 7, accessory number 7 or mod number 7, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the coffee screen strainer for your fuel cap. So I don't actually have this. It's the one mod that I don't have that I'm going to recommend you guys. As you can see, I have nothing in there. But you can go on Amazon. I think it's like 35 or 38 bucks. Again, I'll try to link it in the video description. But it's made for coffee. I think they actually make ones now for the tractor. It's like a coffee strainer, and basically it just slides down in here. It's got a little rim that sits over top of your fuel tank right here. And when you pour your diesel fuel in there, if any leaves or anything blows in, if you're under a tree and you get, a leaf or something drops off the tree, if you have luck like I do, it'll fall right into the tank. But if you have this screen, it'll land in the screen. You could easily pull the screen out. You can clean it. If you have any debris in your fuel, it'll catch it. It's just a nice little secondary way to protect yourself from getting anything inside that tank. Because once it's in the tank, it's going to be going through your fuel filters, and you know what I mean. You're in pretty rough shape. So I highly recommend that. I haven't bought one yet, but I definitely want to. I pump my fuel directly out of my fuel transfer tank, which comes straight out of a filter anyway. So that's why I haven't gotten one yet. A lot of people say it's not necessary, and it's really not. But here's the thing: like a lot of people say, well, my fuel's clean when I pour it in. But like I say, if you're under a tree and you got this cap off You know, even if somebody's mowing lawn or something, you got dust, debris in the air, you got, you know, grass blowing around, say it's a windy day, say you got leaves up on here and it blows a leaf in there. You know what I mean? That's mainly what it's going to protect it against, that type of stuff. It's not to really protect you against dirty fuel. It's more of contaminants that can blow in while you're filling your tank up. So that's why I recommend that. It's the one mod that I don't have that I'd like to get. If you want to see more on that, you can see a Ritter Bit will do, John Ritter's channel. He talks about the coffee filter, how it installs, and why he likes it so much. I'll see if I can link his video right here. It's a great video. Go ahead and check it out. All right, so my last most important accessory for the Kubota BX or for a subcompact tractor would be a grill guard. Having a grill guard is a great thing if you're doing a lot of brush clearing, land clearing, work in the woods and stuff like that, if you're doing logging with your tractor. I didn't have a grill guard actually for the longest time. If you look at my older videos, you'll see I did not have a grill guard on here. And one of my subscribers, his name was Tony, he actually sent me his grill guard. He ended up buying a new one. I think he bought like a quick release one that, you know, had pins and would be able to pull right off so that you can get your hood bonnet off easier. So he ended up giving me his old one, which is a really nice thing that he did. I actually made a video on this as well. If you guys want to see that video, I will link that one right here. But I highly recommend a grill guard because if you want to keep your tractor in nice shape, it's just that extra protection. You know, if you have any sticks that come up, something on a loader and it falls off, or even if you're doing like what I was doing when I almost hurt my tractor when I was pulling stumps out. I actually slipped off of a stump. I was prying with the stump bucket in one of my videos, and I actually slipped off the stump, and I almost put the front grill right through the stump. You know, had I had that grill guard on there, it would have protected that. So it's just really nice to have, even if you're just mowing in the brush and stuff. It gives your grill and your hood bonnet a lot more protection. As you can see, my hood bonnet is, I mean, there's nothing left even holding it on. Actually, the grill guard is the only thing that keeps this hood bonnet from falling off anymore because all the clips are broken and it's cracked and smashed everywhere. I need to buy a new one. I just haven't yet. But that is my last upgrade accessory. Make sure you get a grill guard. If you got the extra money, do it. Your tractor will thank you, and you'll be thanking yourself later when you don't have a stick go up into your engine. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this this video I made of going through my tractor, showing you guys what I feel is the best upgrades for your subcompact tractor. Hopefully this video was helpful and answers a bunch of the questions I've been getting, like I said, all the time in the comments. Hopefully it helps you guys out, and for you new tractor owners, hopefully it'll help you as well figure out what to buy next for your tractor and how to make it more useful and productive for yourself. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on the video, and also don't forget to comment down below if there's other mods or upgrades that I didn't mention here that you guys want to tell other people about. You know, leave a comment down below to help people out. I know a lot of people read the comments, and I think they'd find it really helpful to see other things besides what I just listed here. So I will be back out here getting the cab on this thing in the next day or so, and once I get the cab on, I'm gonna do like a 4-year review, kind of go through the cab completely and give you guys my thoughts on it, because I've been using it for about 4 years now every winter, and I want to tell you guys all about it and let you know what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and if I'd recommend it. So I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, enjoy, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.